Hello and welcome. It is 10:30 on a Tuesday night, and it is time for another Untold Chronicles. This time we will be doing episode 4 of The Smoke. Hopefully, I haven't burnt out my. There we go. We've got me, we've got the thing. That is good. So, as always, more or less straight into it. A few quick hellos and thank yous. So, hello and thank you to everybody who is in chat. We've got quite a few of you. Really appreciate you hanging out. We're not doing the interactive stuff tonight on Untold Chronicles. We wanted to test it out first. But I think with the way it went, starting in April, we will be doing that. So practice, check out our Twitter, get some retweets going there. If everybody's up for it, then we will be doing that. So hello to you in chat, hello to you on video on demand and on YouTube. Really appreciate you kind of checking us out and rewatching and watching again. It really helps our metrics. And hello to you players. We'll come to you very, very shortly, but we're going to say a big hello and thank you to Hero Forge. Many of the character images are designed using Hero Forge, a wonderful way to create your own custom miniatures and get them 3D printed. You can find them at www.heroforge.com. Please note that anything mentioned on the stream may not represent the view or beliefs of Hero Forge, Sky Castle Studios LLC product. So big thumbs up to them. Check them out if you haven't already, which I can't believe that you haven't. And then we are rapidly going to move across to our players. As you know, Untold Chronicles is only an hour and a half, and we want to get into the action. So first of all, we will say hello to Minty.
Hi guys.
Hello. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself, where people can find you if you want to be found?
I'm Laura/Larry. You'll find me as Miss Blackthorn, either all as one word or with an underscore between Miss and Blackthorn. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Twitch, YouTube, the works, Discord, obviously, and I'm usually about hanging around in some manner or other.
Excellent stuff. It's always a pleasure to have you at my table. I really enjoy it.
Yay.
And a big thank to Pete for the sub as well. Really appreciate it. And then we move across to, I'm going to say Gallon. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Yeah, I'm James. I'm playing Galen, the Gnome Bard.
Excellent. And for those of you who don't know, James does all of the wonderful infograms and the thing that you can see at the moment, the picture with the characters and that. So we're very lucky to have you on board, and he does an amazing job. So big thanks to you as well.
A very busy person.
A very busy person indeed. I just noticed as I checked it that you've put them all on right up to our last stream, which was only about half an hour ago. So thank you very much. And then last but not least, we have Janice.
Hello. It is a fairly regular voice, it seems now. It's Stuart in Discord or Brook729 on Twitch. And yeah, tonight playing Janus.
Yeah, and a big thanks to you as well. You do a lot of behind the scenes modding and everything else for us as well, and are quite often the very first to answer people on our Discord channel. So really appreciate it.
And
Yeah, no, well,
I should be working for most of that.
I'm not going to say anything in case any of your, superiors are watching. I just wanted to say thank you, and I'm sure you're not cutting into any business time.
Of course not.
Okay, so without further ado, minimal chit chat. Let us go into the action. So our protagonists received a letter. Oops, let's get the smoke up. Received a letter indicating that there was a secret workshop belonging to a genius scientist They went there to try and recover some blueprints, only to find it guarded by some ne'er-do-wells. After dealing with those, gaining entry and dealing with a Ratchblug, a terrible creature that lives within a lock that sticks its pointed proboscis into someone's eye. Horrible things. They actually accessed the blueprints and this pulsating red stone. About to leave, they were encountered by a mysterious masked stranger wearing an alabaster mask, and two men dressed in black arrived by the coach. They managed to deal with the men in black and capture this man with the alabaster mask. They questioned him, and it seems that him and his organization were the ones that contracted the John Doe to get the guards to the secret workshop, and also were the ones that contracted to have the blueprints designed. They decided, rather than to dispatch this man, to potentially deal. He gave them a large sum of wealth that was stored in his carriage and offered them a deal were they to retrieve the blueprints and bring them to him once they next met. He would equal, if not double, the amount that they have already received, and potentially many more lucrative, well paid. I'm running out of
Lucrative.
words. Yeah, well paid
Well
jobs
paid.
could well be sent your way. They let this individual go. He drove the carriage away, and we meet our heroes now, wandering back, thinking about the safest place to stay, and to decide on any kind of deals to be made. Lots of decisions. So over to you. As the scene opens up, you are walking through potentially the squalor at the moment, deciding where to go. Feel free to roleplay.
I think we need to get us somewhere safe with this. I don't think we want to be walking around the streets too long.
No, if that meanie with the mask was anything to go by, we're gonna have trouble.
Yes.
We could go to my house.
Oh, that would be lovely. Yes.
I mean,
Callan, do you think that's a good idea?
Aye, sure. Is it nearby?
it's in the neighbourhoods. It's sort of nestled in an alleyway between a lot of taller buildings, so you don't really know it's there. So hopefully that will help. It shouldn't take us long.
Should we see if we can find a parker? I don't want to be walking through the streets of the squalor.
It's kind of strange. The squalor is not known for the Parkers. It's muddy and the like, but you kind of know that there is a familiar type of whistle that you do, not necessarily a whistle that you blow, but just a tone. And you just do that, a sharp two-tone whistle. Moments later, coming round a corner, is the carriage, the sigil of the Parkers, and the heavy coated, hatted, and half masked driver comes out of the smog. Bearing in mind this is the smoke, so the streets are always covered in this smoggy smoke. It pulls up. You called?
Yes. We wanted a ride out of this area. It's not really becoming of somebody like us.
Indeed. Get in and tell me your destination.
Okay, might as well climb in.
Yeah, we're heading to the neighbourhoods. there's a area where there's quite a few taller buildings that are squishy together. Around there.
He sighs. Okay, I know your type. He begins to set off, and he's expecting that you didn't want to give him your full address, but he's going to take you close, and then you will give him directions to get you closer, and then maybe a block or so away. Say this will be enough. It's not the. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Janus leans over to Minty and go, "Did you forget your address again?"
It's not easy to remember because, like, I know where it is, so why do I need to remember words for it?
Yes, I thought that was what happened. Well, make sure you direct him.
Uh-huh.
As the Parker gets closer to the neighborhoods, he kind of moves the panel that is from where he's sitting that leads into the carriage itself. And you easily direct him. Do you want to take him to your front door, or are you going to leave him a block or two away?
A block or two away, because to get to her front door, you have to sort of squeeze down a tightish alleyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So you do indeed stop off, and I have got your alleyway here. So let us get this sorted. And oops, let's get this sorted here. Sorry, it takes me a little while to do the setup.
Perfectly all right.
So many things. There we go, and we get you shared here. You are aware that oops, this is your cottage here. It's a small place, like you say, situated between some large buildings. You know, there is this building here that you can see that is massive. The same with this one here, and then there's others to the north. You arrive. The front door is intact. It doesn't look like anybody's been here.
Did you do you have your key?
Uh-huh.
Oh, did you remember to lock it?
Oh, yes.
Oh, good.
Because I couldn't find Blinky, so I left it so that he'd have to go round the back to get in, because then he wouldn't be able to hide under the bed.
Oh, okay. Shall we?
I will get my keys out of my pockets
Yep.
and
It's a simple
undo the
action.
door.
So I will unlock the tokens, and the door actually opens like that. Now,
Huzzah.
obviously, we've got some kind of representative here, but let's focus as the camera zooms into the finer details. Do you want to describe what your cottage looks like?
Yeah, it's quite rustic looking. It does look out of place, sort of in its own way. And it even has some plant life dotted around, though some of it does look quite mutated from the atmosphere of the smoke. And some of it does look like it would try and eat you back. You can tell that she tries to make it as homely as possible, but once you sort of see inside, you realise it's kind of a bit of a mess. There's papers and herbs all over the place. There's a dining table and stuff with the kitchenette, but making it hard to tell sort of any detail of the table because there's so many books and papers all over it. There's a couple of plush armchairs and stuff near the fireplace, which seems to be glowing blue. But once you sort of have a look, you notice it's because a jar of some sort of powder has sort of been knocked over and has been trickling into the fire.
Perfect.
The only place that's really tidy is the bookcase, and that's because it kind of looks like it vomited everywhere.
Janus looks over at the fire with this blue on it, and just summons a magical hand that picks up the jar and moves it over so it's standing upright. Minty, we've
Oh.
talked about this. You need to keep this place tidy.
I know, but I was researching, and I got caught up again.
Well,
But
let's see if we can tidy some places so we can sit and discuss what to do.
Can you give me perception rolls, please?
Who's this for?
Everybody, please.
nope.
It's Minty. It's almost like you've only got one eye at the moment.
I know, right? Who'd have thought?
Okay, both Galen and Janus, you hear something coming from behind this wall here. You are not alone.
Minty, I think there's
Uh-huh.
something in the house.
Oh. We go have a look then.
Keep quiet.
Okay.
So you're going to stealth forward.
Yeah.
Janus gives a stealth roll. Oh, look at
Oh.
that.
Galen eases his rapier, ready to strike.
Perfect. You are ready.
Ah!
Now, Janus, have you come across this thing before?
I think that Minty has mentioned it before.
Okay.
That was one of the reasons or has hinted at it.
Okay. So
One
I'm
of the
going to
reasons
let
why.
you react in character then. I'm not going to impose any rules. It seems that it's one of its multiple eyes basically scans down towards you and begins to glow.
Janus looks at it and starts reaching for a weapon, and then hesitates for a moment and looks over at Minty, and then back to it, and then back to Minty, and just seems to take a second there to try. Is this the thing that you mentioned?
Blinky! Yay! You're home!
Oh dear.
And it
She
seems to
rapidly
dance
pulls him
around you as
into a
well.
hug.
Alan, I think this is Blinky.
It seems to be a small beholder, but with not enough eye stalks.
I mean, I'll be honest. I kind of expected Blinky to be like a cat or something.
Yes.
I told you he came from one of my experiments that I may not have been meant to be doing at home.
Yes, I think you should possibly be careful about that kind of experiment, but also, if you can recreate it, I think it could be wonderful.
I mean, I'd need a lot of stuff from the guild. It was hard enough to manage to get this little guy to sort of come through well. I mean,
Do
my
they
house.
sometimes not come through well?
Sometimes I end up with large holes in the floor and lots of things missing, and more stuff ends up going through than rather than coming out.
You have things go missing. How do you notice in here?
I know where things are, sort of.
Okay.
I mean, just you know that the things going missing might not necessarily be down to your experiments, right?
Oh, yeah. I know that sometimes I forget.
No,
and
no,
look
yeah.
sharply at Galen. What are you meaning?
Ah, well, we'll have a chat about that later.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
So what kind of research do you do here?
I look into creatures that most people think are mean and scary and but are smart. And if we can make it so that we become friends and learn from each other. So I kind of contact them and stuff. It's not easy, especially since they tend to be so far away.
Huh.
So it's still quite powerful, though. I imagine that freeing some of these would definitely be helpful to them, definitely to them. But we probably have bigger things to worry about.
Yeah, we need to clear the table so that we can look at these things.
That might take a while.
Blinky can help.
Okay, so you move across to the table. It depends how rapidly you want to clear the table. Whether you want to tidy it, organised, or whether you just want to push things to one side.
Janus is very carefully using a magical hand to lift things up at a
Mhm.
distance, keeping some of these items away from her, from them.
I was
And
going to say,
moving.
what kind of things are on the table, Minty?
Mostly books and papers, a few relatively cheap sort of spell components, and a lot of knocked over ink.
Okay, perfect. So you spread these items out and you begin to examine them. Just remind me, which things are you particularly paying attention to at the moment?
So there is the Crimson Stone.
Hmm.
We also have a strange gem
Hmm.
in my inventory there, and I would assume that we've got the blueprints off.
You do indeed have the blueprints.
So I think Janus would put them all onto the table
Hmm.
so that we could have a look at them.
Yep. Okay. So the items are there. Who's doing what to them? Pitch me some skills.
Uh,
Please, GM, just say, can you give me
Yeah,
an
I'll
Arcana
prepare.
roll, please? This is
Oh.
cool. This is where you can go. My character. If your characters don't have skills in this area, that's absolutely fine. You might well need to find an expert, and that is totally an appropriate answer if you just think, no, we really need to find an expert for these. But if you want to try, then tell me how you want to do whatever.
I'd like to use Arcana to try and determine if there's any particular types of magical signals coming off of the stones.
Okay, this is interesting. So which one do you want to do first?
The one we found with the blueprints.
So this is this stone is kind of a piece of blood red rock, and there's, I don't like to say it's an inner fire because fire is kind of like a flickering flame, but there's a deep red pulse within it. It's most definitely not natural, and from your investigations previously, with nature or whatever, you think you've heard about such a thing, coming from the far north in the dredges. Supposedly, one of the settlements is called Starfall, and it's exactly what it is named. Supposedly a star fell, crashed, there was a crater, and fragments of pulsating red rock have been found in the area. And around this crater, this quite a large crater, the settlement of Starfall has grown as well. So you can give me an Arcana roll on that to determine whether you can see anything else about it.
No.
No, it's not a critical fail, so I'm not going to give you false information. But there's something very strange about it. The pulsing means that there's something supernatural about it. Might be magic, it might be something else, but it requires other investigations. And it's got the coloration of bloodstone, but with your previous nature check, you know this actually isn't bloodstone, but could, if it was polished up, be mistaken for it. So that, unfortunately, is a blank.
Yeah.
Are you going to move on to the next thing?
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Are you going through all of them? Oh,
Okay, it's not your day
Can
today.
I use my other portent to
Absolutely.
make that a 12 total?
12 total.
Yeah. Not
Okay,
great, but
that's
better
not
than what it
great.
was.
I mean, Janus. Yeah, no, let us have a look. Okay, I'm going to say this. There's definitely magic upon it. It's strange the way that the crystal is, and you think that this item is enchanted, but beyond that, you unfortunately you can't tell what it is.
Yeah. I think I need something stronger than just studying it.
do
I
you have
might
any?
need to go shopping.
Do you not have any books on these kind of things?
I mean, somewhere.
Oh, well, do you want to have a look around and see if you can find anything? You mentioned something about the dredges at Starfall before earlier, didn't you?
Yeah,
Maybe do you have anything about that?
I can have a look.
Well, while you have a look, I'll take a look at these blueprints and see if I can figure out what they are, what they're for.
Okay.
Excellent stuff.
Um,
How? Yep. Sorry,
I
Galen.
was just going to say Galen will be taking a look at the blueprints as well, so it can be
Perfect.
a team effort.
Yep. All for team efforts. So together, pitch me what you're doing, what skills you are using to see. I mean, one of the great things here is this is blueprints, so everything, all the information is technically in front of you. It's just a case of, understanding it really.
I think we'll probably go for investigation for Janus.
Okay, so if Galen is happy with that, that means that you have advantage on that.
Cool. Oh, look
Wow.
at those really nice high rolls.
You are tired after your and
Turns
again,
out dying is not good.
yeah, it's you kind of look at it and then you realize after about 2 or 3 minutes that you've probably got it the wrong way round, and you move it round. That makes things substantially easier. I believe it's probably Galen that pointed that out to you.
What do you mean I'm looking at it upside? Oh, that's the top. Oh, I see.
But uh, once again, no, nothing. Now, something that I'm coming on to, I know I'm digressing, but on Thursday night we're doing live stream, which is Welcome to My Table, where I kind of mention a number of things. We're going to be talking about narrative agency amongst other things then, and this is a point that I'm going to offer narrative agency to you. This is not something I've invented, something that I have blatantly taken from a different system, Call of Cthulhu, which is fundamentally giving you the ability to push your role. You don't have to take this option, but you can, if you want, re-roll that again with advantage. And if you succeed, you succeed. But if you fail, there is very bad repercussions that come your way. So you have the choice there. I'm offering you that freebie.
I mean, Janus is always willing to take an option like that. What does everybody else think?
Go for it.
Go for it.
And while Janus is looking at it, Galen will be telling her all about, the how interested he was in like Stephen's inventions and stuff like this, and how he's been looked at history of blueprints and stuff like this, and now he's really excited about finding out what it is, and he will give a bardic inspiration.
Now, one could think that nothing could go wrong now with bardic inspiration advantage. But I know how dice roll sometimes, and the dice most definitely are going to tell a tale for good or ill here. Oh, and it is for good.
What's the bardic inspiration? Is that a D6?
I think it is
Yeah.
at this level.
Let's see how it goes.
Your
Your tale was helpful.
Yeah.
A little bit distracting though.
Janus was not really listening.
Yeah.
Just
24
nodding
is very good. And once again, Untold Chronicles, we're doing skills differently, not rules as written. And that is going to take you to a critical hit. You have critically succeeded, turning that frown upside down into a big smile. Realizing, now I'm going to give you narrative agency again. I'm not going to say the reason why you failed last time. At this point, how did you succeed? What made that difference to it go? You explain this.
I think it was as we were moving stuff around and turning it over and looking at it other way around, and at one point we knocked over a little bit of ink and it actually splattered over it. And it was at that point that my eyes were drawn to a clear bit that we needed to look at, and spotting that bit, that was kind of what led to finding out and figuring out how it all fits together.
Lovely. I love it. Absolutely. Yeah. So studying this, kind of the applications to perhaps a layman, perhaps someone who knows something about artificery, tinkering, clockwork devices, horology, etc. This might be some kind of beacon, but because you've got a critical hit, you begin to understand the full implications of this device. This device is not just, excuse me, a beacon, but this is some kind of communication device. And looking at the blueprints itself, there's most definitely part of the functionality of this device involves inserting this pulsating stone, this thing from the far north, into the device.
I'll point this out and explain it as I understand it, and kind of look over at the device, look over at the stone.
Does it give any kind of indication as to what the function would be?
Well, it's definitely a communication device, as in to be able to.
I mean, like, does it seem like the stone is meant to be like a power cell type thing, or is it doing something else?
No, there's other things that seem to be charging it. Again, with the critical success, though, I'd say that it's more of a conduit more than a way of, I mean, sort of translating maybe energy or intent or something like that. It's quite difficult to truly understand it, but it seems to have more of that kind of functionality rather than it being a power source.
Would would Galen know enough to know whether this was like communicating across planes or anything like that?
I don't know.
I think we'd
Um,
we'd
so,
need to ask somebody who's got experience with crossing over between planes and
mhm.
summoning things through.
But I'm more than happy because you've suggested it, Galen, for you to pitch me some kind of role or some kind of way you want to see if you can understand it or determine it.
I mean, he's proficient in Arcana, so I guess it would just be like general knowledge that he's picked up around
Okay.
that kind of thing.
Yep. Give us
I'm
a.
happy to assist if you want.
Yeah. I mean, you're
We
all
said it
working
out
together.
loud. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, give me an Arcana roll with an advantage.
Okay. Let's go.
15. Very good. Yes, I mean this most definitely doesn't look like it's, and there are probably not necessarily easier ways, but there are well-known ways of communicating. You're aware of a magic item called sending stones. You are well aware of the sending spell or the message spell. There's even ways of contacting extraplanar creatures through summonings and the like. And this seems to be somewhat different. With the 15, you think it's dealing with something that has never been dealt with before. It sort of takes it beyond even the known planes of existence.
What could
Ooh.
be out there that people would want to communicate with?
Um,
And
I don't know.
why do these masked people want it?
That's what worries me.
I think we need
It's
to be careful here.
it's most definitely a very complex set of blueprints, and it's yeah, this individual, um, this doctor, um, this Hugo Klugstein, most definitely cutting edge, a genius.
But even his genius probably didn't come up with the stone itself. So it obviously was introduced to him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he invented this
Well,
himself, but
yeah.
this blueprints were definitely commissioned by that individual and his uh, organization. Um, they were the ones that prompted him to design this thing. You had that information in the letter. Um, so yeah, but it's not something that anyone just off the street could have invented.
Galen will say to Minty, have you read anything about this starfall and like where it came from?
I mean, I've read bits. Gosh, I mean, it's hard to remember with all the things I have to read. Um, I can try and remember if I know anything else.
Absolutely. What would you like to draw from? History
Uh,
or something else?
yeah, history sounds good to me.
Sounds an academic kind of based thing that you might have studied some books on.
Oh, for God's sake! I cannot roll today.
It's okay. That's where it is. And to be honest, no one truly knows. I mean,
Mm,
it fell from the sky. You remember reading it was seen for a good number of months heading towards the ground, like a distant star moving slowly and getting ever brighter until it crashed. It seems to indicate, with your knowledges of other planes of existence, this thing existed out there in space, which is why they've called it starfall
mm,
rather than it being summoned from another plane of existence and blinking into existence. But it's very difficult to tell, especially as most of the reports are ones that are coming from the dredges. There are quite a few hypothetical writings upon it. And obviously, the inhabitants of Starfall make their money by finding
spinning
bits of
yarns
it.
and
Yeah,
selling
yeah,
it.
absolutely. But it's not like there is a mass amount of it. It seems
Mm,
that when it hit, it fragmented and broke into uh, a large amount of parts, but then they were either burnt up or scattered. So it's not like there's in effect a mine there that can be dug down and it can be just taken out.
mm.
But it's more akin of the old gold panners of the Wild West, that people go out in that area and see if they can find a fragment of this star. So it's quite rare and probably
I
worth
mean,
quite a lot of money.
Oh yes.
I mean, it's hard to determine sort of what was true about it from what I've read. I know it came from very far away,
From looking at this stone, I can believe that.
and
It's very
when it
peculiar.
when it did land, we'd seen it for a long time beforehand.
I wonder if
So
this is maybe a way to find out where it came from.
maybe,
Would anybody have kept records of it? And if it was in the sky for that long and seen by many,
I
was there
mean,
any places around here that would have been able to see it through the smog?
does the smoke have an observatory? I'm sure it
Y-
does.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, don't forget, some of the high society live above the smog, either in their sort of anchored airships or on the tower blocks. Um, and there are ways of getting vision, beyond the smog.
I mean,
Perhaps.
people up top would know, right?
Yes, but I don't think we're allowed up that way.
We could always, I don't know, go to a library and see what bits have been collected of
Finding out
information.
more information might be useful before we decide what to do with this.
I
Although the
mean,
offer of quite a lot of money for it is tempting.
Yeah, I mean, riffraff like yourself may not be allowed up there, but I have performed there many times.
Well, sometimes wonder why I hang out with you.
because you like him.
Oh, shush.
So the question is, this masked fella wants to buy this from us in exchange for a job. Now, do we want to sell it, or do we want to keep it from?
I
Well,
want to keep it from him. I don't think that it's a device that well, we don't fully
Seems-
understand in the first place.
It seems very powerful. I think we should be careful about this.
Well, he didn't ask for a stone, did he? He just asked for the blueprints, right?
I think he mentioned that the
mention
stone was theirs in the first place.
But I mean, the so just out of character,
Yep.
I've made a note that he offered us a generous payment for the blueprints and promised there'd be more work after retrieving those, but he didn't seem that fussed about the Crimson Stone.
Indeed. I mean,
Could have more of it. He's
yeah.
clearly well off.
Um,
From looking at the blueprints, do we get the idea that this is something that would take quite a bit of money to construct?
oh, absolutely. This. I mean, it wouldn't be a huge device, but the fine craftsmanship, some of the materials that are looking to be used within it, as you kind of look at it, it's got a lot of unusual and precious kind of metals. Very, very fine sort of filaments. And yes, indeed, it looks very much like it'll be very expensive and would take a skilled artisan, not necessarily the designer of the blueprints, but unless someone was particularly skilled, it would have to be done in a quite nicely controlled environment. As you are gathered around there, though, you hear a sort of quite gentle on your door.
Janus
Uh,
very rapidly rolls up the blueprint and hides it, and starts to reach for the stone and the gem as well.
I think Minty will open the door a crack and sort of poke her head out and be like, "Yeah."
Okay. So as you open the door, you see a strange individual standing there, gaunt, his skin tightly stretched over his bones. There are several obvious lesions on his bare arms and face, scraggly stubble, matted hair, and there's obvious flies and fleas that are about him, and he's unconsciously scratching. He kind of sees you and smiles. The mistress of the house is home.
Uh, uh,
Ah,
yes, are you okay?
I am ever fine. I have been sent to talk dealings. Uh,
Uh,
I'm sure this would go far more pleasant indoors if you were to offer me hospitality, perhaps.
um,
I can make it
well,
well worth your while.
I think you've got this kind of establishment confused with somewhere else there.
Oh, no, 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 no. Uh, I mean, my name is Itchy Richard, but that is not what I've come for.
Well, I'm kind of busy with my work right now.
I know, and he kind of gives you a big stage wink. Uh, that's what I want to talk to you about.
Just one moment. I need to make sure that it's
I
safe.
have plenty of time.
I'll close the door and come back over. There's a strange man out there, and he
Mm,
wishes to talk about business.
it doesn't surprise me. They did catch our names, unfortunately. Yes, I suspect it's probably related to these things.
Yeah.
They're out of sight for now. Did he look
So,
like any sort of a challenge if things did go badly?
He looked very itchy.
Oh, goodness. I hope I don't catch anything.
I mean, it's only one of him, so. And there's
Should we
four
hear
of
what
us,
should we hear what he has to offer?
I suppose.
What do you think, Alan?
I mean, if the masked fella sent him, then we're probably going to get into more trouble sending him away. So we might as well hear what he has to say.
Okay.
Ah, ah.
You can come inside, I guess.
Well, the offering of hospitality is gratefully received. Many thanks. And you see this individual sort of walk in. He closes the door behind him. I don't suppose I could bother you for some refreshment or like.
I
Um,
would suggest being careful about what you eat and drink here. It tends to have unusual effects after being mixed weirdly. Sorry, Minty.
it's
But that
okay.
last glass of water you gave me did make me turn a little bit blue for a while.
Yeah, I think I might have mixed up which glasses were for people.
Yeah.
So that is perhaps I will forgo such a thing for the moment. My name is Richard, but most of my acquaintances call me Dick. We have some business to discuss. I have it on high authority that you have come across some most interesting wares very recently, and the person I represent would be most eager uh, to access such things.
I mean, that's us maybe, but who do you represent?
Ah, indeed, that is, and he's kind of scratching. That indeed is a very good question, and if I was to answer it, would that lubricate the thoughts of um, agreement?
I think it would be beneficial.
All right. Well, um, I do not know if I tell you his name, you will know much more, but he goes by many. But he holds the highest authority within the Feywild, and his name is the Raggedy Man, sometimes shortened to the Ragman.
Is that a name we recognise?
Oh, interesting. I suppose we could go for history,
Mm-hmm.
or if you think that you've got an appropriate skill about the Feywild, then I'm more than happy to be persuaded for something else.
How can
History's
I
good by
argue
me.
deception?
You could pretend you know him.
That's right. Minty, very nice. 17. You've heard of the Ragman. He has a band of strange fey creatures. He stands separate from the courts of night and day. Um, so, um, relatively neutral in things, really. Um, But if angered, his coterie, his court, are known to do terrible things, normally to terrible people. His court is made up of such fine individuals as Nana Stubble, Scab Alice, Sallow Jack, Spinning Jenny, Mr. Skinner. These are all sort of fairy stories, though, even with your 17 and the fact that you've got Itchy Dick right in front of you is much to behold.
Ah.
What does he want with this, though?
I thought that you might have unravelled the secrets of the items by now.
I mean, first of all,
Talking.
we probably need to be clear on what you're talking about, because I'm sure you'll appreciate that we come across many fine items along our travels.
Oh, I am sorry. The designs, the artistry for the device, and the stone that pulsates with redness as deep as blood.
Some quite interesting items, those.
Indeed, and many will be after them. I am looking to do you a favour by taking them off your hands for a fair price, so that you do not need to worry anymore.
Would that price include protection from others who seek it?
Well, if you do not have it, then why would you be in danger?
Because they would kill us not believing that we don't have it. You
I
should know
think
better than most that people aren't sensible.
you are indeed right, I guess, and it is a dance that we play around and around and around, which is Jenny's pleasure. She does love to spin. The people, the mortals, mainly mortals, that are trying to get this device made are perhaps unaware of what they do, dabbling and delving where they shouldn't. They, in their ignorance, do not know what they do, and as they delve deep into their ignorance, they become obsessed, and their mind, their sanity becomes sapped and drained until nothing is clear anymore, and they do the strangest of things, thinking that they do right, but only to harm themselves and others, and sometimes even the mortal realm. Now, I am admittedly no champion of said mortal realm, as he scratches and fleas come off him. But my lord has taken an interest in the device, and if it in any way helps protect your mundane place, then so be it. I am not here to argue. But you probably are very suspicious of a stranger at your door, and I would not wish you to believe my words. So, how about a little show and tell?
What do you have in mind?
I will freely offer you up information of this individual that you encountered earlier, the one that wears the mask of white, and you can do your own investigations, and once you see the words I have spoken are not just sweet nothings to your ears, but carry the heavy weight of lead instead of a tongue of silver, then by your very own minds and consciences you will perhaps be more inclined to do dealings with such a wretched creature as myself.
To be honest, I definitely trust you and your kin more than the fellow we met earlier.
Well, splendid deal done then. Let me take the
Oh
items
no,
Whoa,
and I
that's
whoa,
will.
whoa.
totally different. Trust and whether I say that I will do what you said, two different things. Even you should know that the game isn't played that way.
Ah, indeed, I see that you like to dance, but you cannot fault me for trying now, can you not?
No, no. 'Tis our nature.
I
So,
mean, this information that you're talking about is it's a fine starting point, but I think we'd also be interested in a bit more information about what this thing is and what it does.
now, all in good time. For baby steps, crawling at first, then rising up, and then toddling is perhaps the sensible way. One does not get to dance immediately. So, as I said, at no cost to you, freely given by my word and my bond, I will start you off upon this journey, should you wish to take it. And then perhaps we will speak again. But I will tell you this, those that seek this from you will be less inclined to freely give and much more inclined to take and leave blood behind.
Was that the information? Because we already knew that.
No, I will stop speaking in rhyme and riddles if you do not understand a degree of clarity. The one that wore the mask, his name is Dr. Wendell Watson, a doctor of the mind. You can find him within the smoke. He has offices here at 69 Viewpoint within the place you call the Splendor, which I find curious. As wonderful as it is not true splendor, for I have seen the towering spires of the Feywild, the courts of night and day, and they are indeed splendid. But if you cannot find him there, he has many homes and apartments within the Splendor, cottages, and he consults too, for he is indeed a doctor, as I said before, but not a man that cuts open and takes out of the physical form, but of the mind. He is a doctor of the psyche, and that is important because his group, who hide behind cloaks and masks, are a society that are keen. They call themselves the Sapience Society, a mouthful even for me.
And have we heard of that?
No, it means literally there's no point rolling. You have not. You're unaware of that completely. A society that is secret, of course, but like most best kept secrets, if one knows where to look normally, into the minds of ones that dream, such information is easily gained. And that is what my lord's court has most skill in, dreams. For that is, in many ways, what we all are within his court.
I suppose dreams are where you are your truest.
Also, where I'm my richest.
Well, if it is merely riches that you desire, that is not a problem.
I wish to understand this device and its purpose entirely.
Well, their cult for that is what it truly is. As much as I despise such a word, it is dirty and so misunderstood, but that is what they are. Their sapient society believes that out there somewhere is a power, an entity of pure intellect, and they wish this device to commune with such, to bring it here.
Well, that could end badly.
Oh, indeed. As I have said, they have, through their passions and desires and intent, lost their very own minds. And I am no great expert in this, but I believe that maybe there is a small sliver of whatever this thing is that is pervading their minds already, breaking it down,
Making them
exerting.
think it's their idea.
Indeed.
So the question I'd have on that is why does the Ragman want this if that's what it does?
That is a good question. One would believe, though, better in the hands of someone that does not wish to use this than better in the hands of someone who does.
Do I believe that he's telling the truth when he says that they don't want to use it?
You can most definitely give me an insight roll. The DC is quite high. Oh,
Janus believes them.
Sod it,
yeah.
I'll roll for the lulls.
Don't forget there are critical fails here.
Yeah.
But it makes things more exciting.
Rolling for the lols can be devastating. Galen, though, I mean, he's not being tricksy, but he's just incredibly difficult to read, if you know what I mean. He's a fae.
Faye.
And whilst not quite speaking in riddles, his words have a rhythm. But you critically succeed again. Very, very cool. And yes, you, for whatever their motivations are, seem to believe that they want this just taken out of circulation. They have no interest in using it. Certainly, that's what Itchy Dick believes.
I know it's not normal to request this. Well, I say normal. who wants to be normal. But could we meet the ragman to talk about this?
No. No.
No.
I mean, no is perhaps a wall that is put up in front of you, meaning you can never. But not at the moment.
No.
He is somewhat preoccupied, but never say never.
Now you mentioned a generous payment for handing these items over.
Well, if you are want to believe me and you do not wish to do your investigations, if you are not worried about repercussions for your actions, then yes, payment can be made, and we will do this now. I am most patient in this endeavour, but if we can speed up the transaction, that would make my day.
No, we're happy to do our own investigations into this.
I merely wanted to know what the offer was that was on the table. You know, you can't make a decision without knowing what's in play.
And he, in incredible speed, just moves to here and is right next to you and leans down almost in the blink of an eye. You're not quite sure whether he used teleportation or some kind of crazy speed. One moment he was right next to Minty, the next moment he's right there, and you can feel the fleas and the flies around him as he leans down and whispers into your ear. One cannot go any higher than your heart's desire. And then he leans back again.
How much was it? How much is the offering? Gallon?
Galen just like strokes his moustache. He looks itchy in the eye and says, "I wish I knew, lass. I wish I knew."
Well, that's going to make negotiating a little bit difficult.
So, if a transaction now is not what you wish for, then I will take my leave. It has been very generous of you to offer me such hospitality. When you are satisfied and you wish to deal, call me and I shall appear. And he spins around and bows and carries on spinning and leaves.
Safe travels.
And disappears.
Julia.
Oh, yeah, you guys aren't used to this, are you?
There's Fae in my blood, but that's been a long time down the ancestry. Does this happen normally for you?
I mean, when I lived with other Fae, yeah.
That must be very unusual.
Oh, it's a very interesting place.
Perhaps one time we'll visit it. I think
Maybe.
for now, I think we might have a doctor to investigate.
Indeed.
He seemed very truthful with what he was saying there. I think we can definitely trust. It's a rather itchy fellow.
Yeah, you all sort of start unconsciously scratching.
And out of character as well.
I have done my job.
I think, Minty, you may need to burn this place. I don't think there's any other way to get rid of what's in here now.
I'm sure Blinky will have fun eating them all.
Well, I suppose there is some advantages there then.
Yeah, this place is weirdly tidy of like pretty much anything more like rat size and smaller.
Well, I mean, I think if we saw a rat running around, we probably would react differently. Well, so we have some more information then, it seems.
Yes.
The Sapient Society. And Dr. Wendell Watson.
So we got a secret society of dream readers or something who have offered us a load of money for these things and maybe some extra jobs afterwards, or Itchy Dick and his gang of whatever they're called, who I don't really know what they're offering us.
What, did he not whisper something in your ear there? I thought he was telling you how much was on offer.
That's what he said.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he said. I mean, he didn't give a figure or anything. It was like some kind of cryptic nonsense.
Oh yeah, you guys aren't used to the dance either.
I mean, I'm used to rhyme. Don't get me wrong. Like, that's kind of my job. But I'm also used to, going to buy something and being told how much it is, rather than,
Oh, yeah.
the cost is, the bending of a river and all of that kind of rubbish.
I just want to get some cogs. And I want to be able to have those cogs and spend them in a time long enough without something so powerful arriving that it might try to kill us all. I feel that an entity of pure intellect might do that.
Quite possibly.
I mean, the one thing I would say about this itchy fella is I did get a good feeling from him when he said that they didn't. They just wanted to make sure that this wasn't used. Whereas, don't necessarily get that feeling from the other guy,
No.
Doctor what's his face.
But we have only had a small conversation with them. Perhaps we should venture out and head up to Viewpoint and find out what we can.
Yeah.
That is assuming that I'm allowed to get into the area. Wouldn't
Is it
want to
time for a
actually-
makeover?
Wow. I mean, I might need to have a bit of a clean.
I mean, while you're having a clean, I tell you what you can do. You can start sharing some of that stuff that you've been nicking with the rest of us.
What? What do you mean?
I mean, I've seen.
Fine.
Otherwise, I might just start charging you for every healing spell I have to spend on you.
Janus walks over to the table and reaches into the skirt and starts to pull out all kinds of vials and sort of equipment used in mixing of herbalisms and poisons, and puts it all onto the table. Is this the stuff that you were talking about?
Yeah, basically.
Well, there it is. I'm glad to get that out of there. It's, files in the skirt tend to end badly.
Okay. Is this things that you're going to put back into the party sheet?
I was going to. I did notice that definitely Janus's eyes lit up when seeing the current party sheet with some Jasper's quartz and such.
Yeah, those are from some of the other games. So
I suspected as much.
take those away from you. All the no's there. Okay. So at the moment, as far as I'm aware, we shared everything else out with you last time. But if you've got any items that you want to stick into the party sheet, you can, and we can distribute them now. I've put obviously the information that Itchy Dick gave you there as well for anybody who wants to take notes.
Yep.
Okay, so are you wishing to take any kind of respite before you head out or do anything else? Or are you heading straight out? You're feeling good.
It would be nice. If we had a long rest, I'd get my portent back.
I mean, you are basically in a safe place now, but it's up to you whether you want to. You're not under any kind of real sort of time pressure at the moment, as far as you're aware, anyway.
I think a rest here tonight would be good.
We could, I mean, especially if we're going to go and speak to these guys, we could really do with somewhere better to put these blueprints in the stone than up your skirt.
Are you thinking of anywhere safer than that?
I mean, I don't know of anywhere.
You
We
can
have
give
to
me
consider.
a history roll, really, unless anybody's got any ideas in character.
I mean, I think he'd be kind of thinking along the lines of like trying to pick up a bag of holding from somewhere rather than just putting it somewhere where someone might find it,
Okay.
but is open to ideas.
Janus is thinking about where we could possibly take that, and seems to have had some good thoughts, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, although you are not fully associated with them at the moment, Janus, you are aware that the Gem Cutters Guild, the Cutters, I mean, they do cut gems, but they are also the kind of official thieves guild of the smoke. But they offer fundamentally a counter service, which is not a service over the counter, but they also offer to protect items and can lock things away, guaranteed not to be taken. The service costs, but it's one of the safer places within the smoke to put things. If you have enough money to purchase a bag of holding or any ways of obtaining one, you should easily be able to do that.
I will suggest that to the group. Would be a safer place, as you say, than up my skirt.
Uh-huh.
Do you know how much that would cost?
Let me think back to the last time that I looked at it.
For such a small set of items, it shouldn't be too much at all. You reckon they'll kind of probably appraise the items based on the level of security. We don't want them to be appraised. They do a secret one as well, but that is very expensive. But with the items, you reckon it'll be something along the lines of maybe 5 gold pieces a day.
If we're only going to need it in there for a few days, it'll be fine, right?
Yeah,
Or
seems
we
like
in
a
there
seems
for
like
the-
a good idea.
I mean, there are banks within the smoke as well. There is a place that everybody's familiar with, Cog Street, and then there's the big central bank, the Gear Vault. But there's also kind of sort of more local banks that you can get a safety deposit box, and that's slightly cheaper, but nowhere near as secure as the Cutters Guild.
We'd have to consider as well who might also be involved with this society. We don't
True.
want to just walk into a bank and find out that the bank manager's wearing an alabaster damask.
Yeah. Well, this is the big question as you begin to think about who can you trust and who can't you trust. There's also the question of who got Hugo Klugstein off the murder charge. But you have a number of leads now with this Dr. Wendell Watson, and an interesting visit from a member of the Ragman's Court. This is interesting. You've also got an insight on the secret society and what this device might be for. So with that information, are you going to try and initially settle down and take a rest?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm going to take one last look at at the stone. Give it a knock just to see if this communication thing's working. Have a little listen to it. Be happy that there's nothing listening in and settle down.
Okay. Excellent. So we will successfully take a long rest. You have all the benefits of said long rest. You're in a safe place currently, Minty's cottage, and nothing untoward happens to you. Those are your portents. Very nice.
Some nice rolls there.
Yeah, that's good. Excellent stuff. And I think that is the perfect point to end tonight's session. Not packed with combat, but the plot thickens as you begin to realise what you might be getting yourselves into.
I wonder if any of this has any implications for other stories that could possibly be going on.
Maybe, maybe not. Only time will tell. And that's what I love about this. I'm telling lots of different stories. Some of the things might be interconnected, some of the things might not.
So many red herrings.
Yeah, or it could all just be inconsequential. You never know with Fey folk. You never know with Fey folk.
We never know the GM either.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But I like playing Fey characters, so it was a pleasure to play. And I do apologise for his name, Itchy Dick. That was great fun. But I want to say a big thank you to you, the players, and to everybody in chat for sticking with us. And tomorrow night, we'll be doing Untold Chronicles, but we'll be delving north to see what on earth is happening in the Dredges. Dredges, just remind me, that's where that red stone comes from, is it not? It's going to be an interesting one. So, without further ado, good night to everybody. Settle down. I will hopefully see you all tomorrow night for some more role playing. Take care. Stay safe till then.